Today we're working on this BR-180. It's a 1999. Total disaster. I got to reprogram it, everything. The machine won't move anymore, or barely. They changed the alternator on it, and the RPM just keeps on fluctuating, so the microprocessor won't understand what the RPM is doing. So we're gonna raise the cab and I'll show you what's going on underneath. Just hold on a sec. Just turn the key on. Now we're gonna tip the cab up. Throttle cable is broke. She's snapped. All right, now to remove this shield here. All right, out it goes. All right, I'm gonna loosen off the cables on both ends and try to fish it out. Off with the gloves. Okay. Hard on the ass sitting on these tracks. I zip tied the old cable to the new one. So now we're gonna pull it so it'll go right in. Just like that. Okay, that's through. All right, let's cut that zip tie out. I'm going to remove the fuel pedal and make sure it's not rusted or anything like that, and lubricate it. And I think the angle of the bracket on the other side of the fuel pedal was changed, and that's why the pedal was really hard. So I'm going to remove it and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, now I got the rod end put on the throttle cable. I'm going to install it on this bracket first because it's a bitch to put it on there in front of the radiator. the other end of the cable. I take this piece off and put it on the new cable. Now I got the throttle cable installed. We're going to verify to see if the TPS is within range on the AD readings using this. We're going to turn the ignition on. With the ignition on, we're going to push F4 on the microprocessor. F4 brings up a whole bunch of readings. Now we're going to push F1 to move the page over until we find the reading that says AD, sensors, you know, readings. Now I'm on that page. Right now it says steering sensor on AD, but we want the TPS. So now we're going to scroll down by pushing F2. TPS. It says right now at idle it's 727. It says that idle is at 727. The ideal range would be between 732 and 698, but at idle, your tolerance could be between 448 and 748. So we're at 727, so we're gonna leave it right there because it's fine. So max, we're gonna max it out and see what it reads. I got 325 as a reading. Max is between 182 and 382, so 325, we're good. So we're gonna leave that like that. The TPS is fine. Okay, we're going to lower the cab now. Turn the key on. Let's see if this thing will start. They said it was plugged in. I doubt it, but she's running. Let it warm up slowly but surely. I'm gonna see if I can loosen up the throttle linkage there right on the pump. The pump seems kind of stiff. One of the reasons why the cable snapped. Cable's pulling too hard. It should not be there. Now I'm going to put the spring butt underneath the cab where the throttle lever is instead of on the end of the cable. Okay, let's see what that does. I got to use some big hardware. The holes are pretty worn out on this panel. Okay, we're gonna do a factory reset on this machine because this machine gave a lot of issues last spring. So a factory reset is done by entering the codes and the whole 9 yards. So stick around. We're gonna shut it down first. We're gonna need this screen. Turn the key to on. F4. Well, wiper is working to get this reading on the screen. Then we're gonna find the vehicle model on this. You have to get to the vehicle model. Tech, vehicle type. It's a high speed, 180 high speed. So when you get to that, you push F4, F3, F2, F1, F1. Brings you this. Double access code. Now I got to enter the code. I can't give this code out on the internet because it's pre-knots password. So you enter the 4-digit code and hold on, I'll show you. You got to enter it by pushing F4 or F3. F4 to go one way and F3 to go the other way. When you get the code, push together F3 and F2 to confirm the code is correct. F3 and F2 together. Double access. That's one of them. Double access, submit access code. That's not what we want. We want to reset. So we're going to scroll down. By pushing F2, you scroll down. Now double access, reset factory, yes. So you got to push F3 and F4 together to confirm that's what I want. Factory reset is done. That's it. So now we can turn the key off, and now we got to recalibrate it. So that's the trick of resetting your microprocessor. Sometimes you get some guys that are welding on the machine and the microprocessor goes on a protection mode. You got to do a factory reset like this. And then you got to recalibrate everything. 90% of the time it works. Depends on the genius that welds onto the machine. If he's really into it there, maybe he will burn out the microprocessor. You don't want to do that. Now to calibrate with the ignition off, you push on F1 first, hold it, start the machine, holding the F1 button, let go of the F1. In doing so, makes the numbers on the microprocessor scroll from 1 to 9 on the far left. 1 and 2 would be F and R levers, but in this case, it's this steering. So we're gonna try the steering, full left, neutral, full right, neutral. Number 1 has disappeared. After that, on a steering wheel 180 like this, you got this trim threshold. So you go all the way negative and all the way positive. Back to neutral. That should erase number 2. You got numbers 3 to 9. Well, actually 3 to 7 on this one here because it's a steering application. Number 3 would be engine throttle position sensor, TPS, mid RPM, all the way to maximum. So, what you got to do to erase 3, 6, and 7, using both foot and hand throttle. This one does not have a hand throttle. We're going to bring it all the way down to the floor, maximum RPM. Once floored, you bring it down to 2,000 RPMs. Once at 2,000 RPM, F3 on the microprocessor, push and hold. The light will turn off and then on again. Down to 1500. Push and hold F3 again. Let go, and then all the way down to 0 RPMs at idle, actually, not 0, but idle. Make sure you lift up on the pedal to make sure that it's all the way. Now let's see if 3, 6, 7 has disappeared. Now we got 4 and 5 left. Let's take a look what 4 and 5 is. 4 is the vehicle speed pot. The vehicle speed pot on this machine is this one here, number 4. So all the way to minimum, all the way to maximum. Number 4 should be gone. We only got 5 left. 5 would be the tiller speed pot, because there is no tiller speed pot on this one here. See, number 5, tiller speed pot. So once done, we're gonna push F1 once. The red light turned off and it says it's okay. F1 again. There is a fault, but it's the tiller speed pot. Just to make sure, we're going to verify all the faults. F4 again. F1 to move the page over to the right until we get to the faults. Tiller speed pot. No others recorded, so that we're fine. Turn it off. And now we can go try it. Machine is working pretty good now. Apart from some issues like pulling to one side or the other, so on the microprocessor on the screen, you got the option to go to threshold and correct those parameters. So I got the machine tracking fairly straight now, and I think the customer will be happy. So if you like content like this, look me up on Shop 959, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.